Got a lot of fucking vices, though, I'm trying to get rid of. Over the years, I've also developed an enormous gambling problem. You're not in show business for a decade and dressed like this without a bad gambling problem. I was making 35 grand a week on a sitcom. I'm wearing the same jacket I wore at a Rush concert in 1981. And the reason I got no money from gambling is because I like to bet on the New York football cocksucking fucker fuck me in the ass Giants. The Giants haven't covered a fucking game since the Reagan administration. The Giants used to be a lot more frustrating to bet on because they had this old guy who was like a drunk and he had Alzheimer's disease and he announced the fucking games on the radio and he always made mistakes. So if you had a bet on the game, you didn't know what the fuck was going on. This guy Jim Gordon would say shit like this on the radio. You'd have a bet and he'd go like this, he'd go, Sims drops back looking for a receiver. He's going way deep, long, way down for Baker, baby. Touchdown Giants. No, he dropped it.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm your host, Ice. Welcome to the show, episode 2, season 5. Shout out to Artie Lang for opening it up for us. Kind of a little tribute to the Super Bowl. Rams. All right, let's go over the, take some notes over the week. Little things we're going to discuss. Attorney Tom Rentz, Candace Bergen, leader of the opposition party in Canada. We're going to talk about the book, A Brief History of the Future. We're going to get into that. Talking about, let's see, yeah, topics-wise, whistleblower, Jeanne Stagg from Project Veritas. We're going to talk about regulatory capture, emergency powers, and I think that's going to cover it. This is the Ice Media Show. I'm your host, Ice. That song you heard, that's 21 Pilots, The Outside. Check them out. All right, so let's get into the show. I'm your host, Ice. I'm so glad you're joining me. If you get a chance, like, share, and subscribe. I do apologize about the audio. I'm having some audio issues. I'm running OBS software, so I don't know, I gotta look into that. I did check the audio a little bit, and you know, it says it's running the desktop audio mic and the mic I'm using right now. It's a headset mic. So, I don't know. I know it sounds terrible right now. I did an audio check before I started the show, so I do apologize. All right, so let's get into where we're at right now. Saturday, February 12th. High water mark. If you can see this right here, high water mark. Normally, I think we're at the high water mark right now, with the whole fight against the deep state, COVID, for sure COVID. So the reason I brought this up, and it's not good to like count your chickens before they hatch. So I don't want to like I'm not making no declarations or anything. But the reason I wanted to bring this up was because I think it's important because I do believe as far as the COVID battle, which we've been battling since, for me, I mean, since, I protested outside the city hall March 20th. I started season 3 based on because of COVID. I wasn't planning on starting season 3 that early, but I did. And so we've been battling this for 2 years now, going on 2+ years, and we're at that high water mark. There's always been high water marks. If you look at the American Civil War, historians debate that Gettysburg and Pickett's Charge was the high water mark of the Civil War. World War II would have been 1940, the year of 1943, or 1942. I think they said the Battle of El Alamein in Africa, and then at the same time across the way, not too far, would have been the Battle of Midway, also the Battle of Stalingrad. Was that 1943 was Stalingrad. Midway was 1942. I don't know, but anyway, well, for as far as World War II is, I mean, pretty much 1943. So we're at the point right now as far as the battle of COVID where the tide is turning, and so for the next probably couple of years, you're going to see us having the momentum. So where we're going to go, and I don't think there's any question, anybody, there's no doubt for anybody on this that we are going to pursue prosecution. Now here's the thing, with us being open source information warriors, which has worked for us, we're open source about it. So it's, we're very transparent. We don't really hide nothing. The bad thing is that, that's how we communicate across the battlefield. It's just openly, we hide in plain sight basically. But, it's going to be, this is the most crucial and delicate part right now, is because personally I don't have any experience with any of this. So, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really have a plan. I mean, other than just straightforward, like let's gather up the evidence and prosecute these criminals. The problem is that they're very, when they're backed into a corner, they're going to lash out. False flags, any type of, event that they can pull off. I mean, these are the people who have the power, and they're just not getting with the program about it. Like, also, it's real important too is that we must maintain the high ground. We can't, it's like crossing over the dark side. We're only doing this because we must. I mean, for one, America was attacked. A lot of people. How many people lost their jobs? How many people lost their lives? And how many people have been psychologically scarred from all this? So we can't just like, even though they're giving up, they're not going to go away. And so we're just protecting the future. If we don't do anything, it's going to continue. They're going to continue this. So that's why we must proceed forward with this. So we must maintain the high ground morally. We can't get bloodthirsty, or we can't get overzealous. And here's another thing we need to start considering. We're going to have the power now, which means great power comes great responsibility. We talked a big game. We wanted it. So now what are we going to do when it's actually in our lap? And now we have the power. So now we need to start really conducting ourselves like on a real professional level, providing examples. That's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to throw that out there. We're still early. We're mad early. Look for another 2 years. Look for this phase to be about 2 years. Just gonna give you, just get it in your mind. Get your mind right about this. So that's all I wanted to talk about. Um, Now, as far as protesting, Ottawa is a very successful example. I just want to let everybody know: be careful, though. Be careful with your rhetoric. If you're going to start using rhetoric like shutting down bridges and all that, they're going to interpret that as terrorism. So be real careful. Now, there's a possibility that this could. I mean, it's already spreading. There's examples in Europe. There's examples in Canberra, Australia. Canberra, Australia is going off right now. Of course, Canada's going off. There's talks about in America. They're talking about organizing trucking convoys. So I got my camera charged up right now. If you're a researcher and a reporter in the information warrior space, just be ready. Cover it. Just watch your language, though. That's all I'm saying. You know that ever since J6, that they're looking to honey trap us. So just be real cognizant of that. Be real cognizant of your language. If you're going to say anything, just say, "Hey, I'm a reporter. I'm going to go cover it." That's what I'm going to do. If it breaks out here in St. Louis, I'm going to cover it. That's why I got my camera charged up. I don't think it well anticipated doing that, but hey, whatever city you're in, just be ready. All right, so let's move on. I want to talk about, like I said, I took some notes over the week that I just want to just reiterate. I got it from other shows. So, stuff that I think is important. I'll jot it down, study it, and then relay it back to you. So there's a guy called Attorney Tom Rentz, and he discovers disturbing DoD COVID files. Recently discovered DoD stamped documents show the following. Point number 1 is Delta variant surged to over 50% in June. COVID-19 hospitalizations more than double, reversing the prior trend of decreasing hospitalizations since April. Point number 2, unlike what Fauci, Biden, and Big Pharma are telling the American public about the safety and effectiveness of the 3 COVID vaccines, the following DoD stamped documents show 60% of the hospitalizations are fully vaccinated. So that's huge. So when I say let's start putting together a case, which we have been, we got all the evidence in the world. We just need to put it all together and get some kind of authoritarian body to move on this. Point number 3, the DoD stamped document also refers that the government knows that prior COVID-19 infection has a major protective effect against breakthrough hospitalization, which means that natural herd immunity is superior to the vaccines. Of course, anybody with any basic, if you did basic biology or in chemistry in high school or whatever, you should know these things. If your parents taught you basic sanitation and stuff, you should know these stuff. You should know these things. It's common sense. So when you get a chance, I'm gonna reiterate that. Attorney Tom Rentz. Moving on. Candace Bergen, politician. She's out of Canada. I've been watching a little bit of the parliament hearings. She's the leader of the opposition. So Trudeau has been getting hammered. Oh, by the way, I made a really cool video yesterday called "What Trudeau Could Have Done." It's kind of a speculation. It basically argued that all this could have been shut down. All this could have been over with 2 weeks ago, if PM Trudeau had just went down to the out there to the protest and just listed them out and struck a deal. Some kind of in the video, it was a proposal of a religious opt-out option in the form of an ID card. That would give people, the people who don't want to take the vaccine, the right to not take the vaccine. Most people would just voluntarily take it. But we know what this is about. This is about fundamentally changing our government system to where the government's already out of control as far as the abuse of power. They're abusing their power and they're out of control with it. And we're going to talk about emergency power. Emergency power, right? So they're basically abusing all of which way but loose. Anyway, Candace Bergen, She seems pretty cool. Check her out. She's anti forced vaccines. Canada runs a parliamentary system. Interesting. Here's a little map. Um, you look at China. China runs a one-party system. That's how they one-party state system. That's how they control their thing. You could argue America is the same way. Just with the illusion of a two-party system. The red are parliamentary. A lot of the influence from England. You can see Australia, England, Canada. I think it's fascinating when you watch the parliamentary hearings. It's to me it's interesting seeing them debate. All right, here's a book you should check out. Look at it. It's called A Brief History of the Future: A Brave and Controversial Look at the 21st Century. Right at the top, you got brilliant and provocative Henry Kissinger. He's a hardcore globalist. So I got this from Jay Dyer from Infowars. So I try to give credit where credit is due. I'm gonna read it. It basically talks. It's kind of like it parallels like what we're witnessing. There seems like there's a clear-cut agenda that's clear now. By 2030, with the fourth, they're trying to usher in a fourth industrial revolution. They're trying to transhumanize human beings and all that. Smart cities, smart warehouses, to where our bodies in and of themselves will be linked up into the internet. I got no problem against technology. I don't think we can really stop the evolution of technology, but I think what we can do, and I think this is our duty, as people who are have the power of illumination right now. If you understand this, I think you have a duty. I think we can steer it into a positive direction. We can steer it into where it's these technologies are decentralized and in the hands of the people, the 99%, as opposed to a centralized group of elites. Clearly, we know how their behavior indicates nothing but malevolence. So it's absolutely important that as we adopt these new technologies, which are extremely powerful, and it would be detrimental in the hands of the wrong people, we have to steer it. We have to figure out a way to decentralize it and put it in the hands of the people. And it's not out of the realm of possibility. For example, look what we've done with information. For decades, information was controlled by a powerful elite at the top, and over the last, I'd say about a decade, or especially the last 5 years, we've seen a switch that now that information is decentralized in the power of the people, and it's causing all kinds of havoc for the elite. That's how powerful just information is. So this technology, this transhumanist technology, is the same thing. It's got to be decentralized, and it's got to be put in the power of the elite, not in the power of a few corporations, basically, that control everything. We know that that's just not good. It is never good. So that's what we have to do, and I think we can do that through legislation. As you know, if you followed me since season 4, I wrote up a piece of legislation and proposed it to the Missouri state government. It wasn't picked up, but I'm not done with that. And basically the legislation, it basically protects workers' rights. It was to make it illegal for any type of corporation to demand that you have to let me repeat it over again. So let me summarize. The legislation, it says it basically provides the worker the legal option out, an opt-out option. Anything biological, which means cell phones, it means fingerprint scanning, it means facial recognition, vaccines, chips, so on and so forth. So anything biological, the bill would say that it gives the worker the right to opt out if he chooses. So basically, the company can go ahead with for example, let's say the company decides that to clock in and out, you must do facial recognition. Well, that's biological. Okay. Now, most people will say, I don't care. That's fine. I'll do it. But some people don't want to do that. And that's the key, is that we must be given the option. We can't have corporations or governments having that type of power to where the citizens, all of a sudden don't have that power, right? And that fundamentally goes against our form of government. And that's why I've been a big fighter against forced vaccines. It's not about. It has nothing to do with me against the science of vaccines or me not caring about other people's health. It's the fact that in this country, one of the biggest principles and one of the bedrock foundations of our country is the right to it's the freedom of property. Like, in this country, the whole concept is that your property that you own, and property means your body, it means currency, right? It means whatever assets you own, whether it's gold, silver, cash, your house, your intellectual property, your individuality, how you dress, your body, what you want to wear, it means that that's your property. And in this country, you are the master of your property, which means that you can deem how you want to see fit on how you want to handle your property, which means you can determine how you want to sell it, how you want to own it, whatever the case is, and nobody can tell you otherwise, right? Like the government can't just seize or search that property. That's for the whole Fourth Amendment. That's the bedrock of the Fourth Amendment. Okay, that's the whole idea of you're the king of your castle. Your house is your castle, and you're the king in it, and nobody can tell you otherwise, right? And that's what creates that's a society that you want to live in. I mean, it's now they'll use propaganda that's somehow that's bad and that's dangerous, but that's not. It's ridiculous. There's nothing dangerous about it. It's just that's what we determine on a society we want to live in. Other societies don't have that option. Other societies, governments they own the property, right? They decide how it's going to be handled. And that's the Fourth Amendment when it's just okay, so they can't just seize and search anything of your property, which means you can't just tap. They can't enter your property. They don't have that right without probable cause and without a court without a warrant. And that means that you're doing some kind of illegal activity, right? But that's gone now. That's already stripped away with the Patriot Act, and that was a response from an emergency, which there's a lot of debate. That was an inside job, and there's a lot of parallels between that and what's going on now. I mean, you have an emergency. There's a lot of evidence saying that it was that it wasn't organic, or it just to spring out of naturally. That there was that it was. For one, they've evaluated the virus. It's got gain of function. It's man-made. So the point is that that created an emergency. They abused the emergency powers to basically strip almost all your rights away, and to get you to voluntarily give up your rights. Now now you're supposed to give up your body, which is your property. You have a right to that. And if we was to let this go, and if we didn't fight it, then it would have fundamentally changed our society. And that was probably the plan the whole time. And that's the biggest reason we fought it. And a lot of people, on the left, they don't get that concept. But it's we're not. It takes a while to understand this. This is not easy. This is these concepts are hard to understand. Anyway, so I'm gonna read this. The beauty of it is that all their plans are all out there in white papers. So I mean, All we got to do is read it and just figure out a counter strategy against it. That's not hard. I'm not going nowhere. I'm going to be here for the next 20 years, and I'm only getting better and better. So, A Brief History of the Future. It's a book. It's free PDF. You can get it online. I suggest you start checking it out. Let's keep moving on. All right, so we got a whistleblower here. Whistleblower, COVID cases inflated for profit. The guy went in for multiple gunshot wounds and was coded as COVID. That's Project Veritas. Support them. Check them out. All right, moving on. Regulatory capture. Regulatory capture. It's a... Okay, I'm going to read it for you. In politics, regulatory capture, also known as agency capture and client politics, is a form of corruption of authority that occurs when a political entity, policymaker, or regulator is co-opted to serve the commercial, ideological, or political interests of a minor constituency. God, I can't read it for some reason. Constituency. I know that word. I just, for some reason, being on air, being live, I'm just getting tongue-tied. Such as a particular geographic area, industry, profession, or ideological group. For example, the CDC could be argued that it's been regulatory captured by who? Well, Big Pharma. And how do we know that? Well, because a lot of the people who work at Big Pharma or worked at the CDC end up working at Big Pharma. And there's all kinds of ways that they can use illegally to capture these agencies. There's speculation that the intelligence agency, like the CIA, is regulatory captured by Wall Street or whatever, The military-industrial complex has captured a lot of our government. So you got these, major, powerful corporations who use their power to expand their profits, and they regulatory capture, form of governments who are designed to block this. That doesn't have our best interests in mind. The FDA would be an example. What else? The FCC could be regulatory. The SEC could be regulatory captured. So we need to have some serious oversight. We need to have a serious audit of all these government agencies like the FDA and like the CDC. Moving on. Emergency powers. Okay. Legal dictionary. We got a problem right now. This whole COVID exposed this whole emergency power thing. I'm going to look into this a little bit more. I'm going to read this. I think we need to figure out a way to pass some kind of legislation to have some kind of checks and balances on this. I know locally we need to do something about the Department of Health, because I know here in St. Louis, just the city municipal government alone was the only one in the state of Missouri, other than Kansas City, which was forcing businesses to abide by a mask mandate and social distancing. So businesses didn't have, a choice. I mean, yeah, they could have, but it was a city that in themselves. See, here's the problem: is that businesses can do two things. I mean, if they're coordinating together, like what you see at like Davos, which is like what you see at the World Economic Forum. You have these businesses meeting in secret, right? And who knows what they're... It's illegal. That's considered price fixing. That's considered, that's like the classic definition of what do you call a cartel. All that's illegal, But anyway, so you have businesses that, okay, obviously they can refuse service, to anybody for any reason. If you don't wear a mask, then you have to you can't buy or sell goods. So we need to get that on the discrimination list so that companies can't refuse people based on their biology, basically, and that would constitute their medical decisions. Well, I don't want to wear a mask based on medical decision, whatever. So anyway, so you had the Department of Health here in St. Louis. Like the Department of Health here in St. Louis kept renewing this emergency over and over and over again. Like, I would read it. They'd have to put it out like every 45 days. Where, here in St. Louis is Dr. Echoes. I guess he was advising the mayor or whatever, but he'd advise the mayor, and then the mayor would say, okay, here's an emergency. All businesses must require their patrons to wear a mask and social distance. So this kept getting renewed like every 45 days for over like 18 months. And then a county, and of course it's Democrat, you have a county that's just 30 miles south and west, who are Republican-led counties, didn't even have that same thing. And then the governor of Missouri lifted the social distancing mask mandate way back in like June of 2020. It was only these blue Democratically run cities that were proposing this. So it was an abuse of power, basically. It can't be an emergency for 2 years long. That defies the reason of emergency. Same with the president. President Biden was, he used his emergency powers to institute all these things. None of this all bypassed the due process. None of these were laws put in place. And so that has to concern a lot of people. Okay, so moving on. Lastly, Rams. So check this out. Like, if there's any other team but the Rams, right? Because I'm from St. Louis, I would totally go for the Cincinnati Bengals. Like the dirty, natty. Like they haven't been in the Super Bowl since, I think this is their first time. I don't know, but oh no, wait, they were there back in when they had Boomer Esiason in 1989, I believe, 88 against the Niners. So I'm totally looking forward to this. I know a lot of people are going for the Bengals, but I got to support my home team. And it starts tomorrow at 5:30. Hey, that's not too bad. So I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna go for a walk at the park. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna just eat a lot of food. Watch the game. I'm looking forward to that. But right now, I'm gonna go to the park and I'm gonna go do some walking. It's nice out. It's beautiful out there. Love you guys. As always, like, subscribe, and share. And I'll talk to you later.